Hey, what's up you guys? Today we are going to learn how to bench press. There are so many women who just aren't bench pressing because it's a little scary. Honestly, for me, out of the three main lifts, squatting, benching, and deadlifting, it took me the longest to come around to benching. At first I was like, I don't really want to be a power lifter. I don't really care about benching. I don't care about growing my pecs. Why should I bench? Why should I try to grow my pecs? Why should I try to make my chest stronger? Well, there's a ton of different reasons as to why you should not skip chest. One of the biggest reasons being that training chest has functional benefits. So it's not just about growing the boobies, but that is a benefit as well. You get bigger boobies. And there are so many people on the internet who seem to think that as soon as you train chest, you're gonna lose your breasts. That's not true, but this video isn't for that. Maybe I shall discuss that a different day. But today, we're gonna learn how to bench press, okay? Hi there. Okay, so first thing, your bar should be set up at a height where you can pick it up off the rack, like this. And when you move it like this back and forth, the hooks aren't gonna get in the way. The last thing you want is to just have to reach super, super high up to re-rack your bar at the end of your lift. As for the safeties, this rack was a really, really cheap rack, but in the gym, you'll have a better rack with bigger safeties. Like, what the heck? This is the shortest little safety catcher thing that I've ever seen in my entire life, so it's basically useless. So to be honest, I usually don't use these when I'm benching at this rack, but in my gym, I always set the safeties to a height where if I cannot lift the barbell up, it can still roll over my face. Okay, you want to protect the face. You never know. Bench accidents, they tend to be quite gnarly. All right, you don't want that to happen to you. So the best thing you can do for your own safety is make sure the safeties are set at the right height, or you have a spotter, or both. All right, so hair, for my long-haired girlies. You are going to want to wear pigtails or just have your hair down, because if you show up to the gym in a claw clip, it's going to be very uncomfortable. It's not going to be fun lying down. All right, if I'm benching with my hair down, this is what I will do. I'll kind of wrap it around my neck like a little scarf. I don't know how many of you guys who watch me are Chinese and have seen those like Qing Dynasty period dramas where, you know, the guys have half of their head shaved and then they have the braid in the back, their queue. This is a very, very niche thing that I'm about to get into, but usually in those dramas, when the guys are like fighting or whatever, doing manly stuff, they'll like have their braid like slung over their shoulder like this. And I don't know, that does something for me, even though they're like bald in the front here. And it's supposed to be an ugly hairstyle. It's like ugly on purpose, right? Because the Mongols or the Manchus or whoever took over China for that brief period of time, they wanted to humiliate the Chinese men. So that's why they were made to have that hair. And why is it hot? Why is it hot when they do this thing? So anyway, that's what I think of every time I do that. Okay, so that's the hair. And one thing that is really important to remember when you lay down at the bench press is you grab the bar first and then you lay down. And the reason for this is because your brain always knows where your hand is. So you never ever hit your head as long as you reach back and grab it first. I'll scoot even closer, okay? I know where my hand is. No hitting. Too many bonks on the barbell taught me that lesson. There are these little rings on a barbell, typically. This is where I will place my hand, with the pinky at this outer ring. Now this is a wide grip. Okay, so a narrow grip, your index finger would be at the start of this outside knurling right here. You don't know, the rough part of the bar is called the knurling, and you know, the etchings and the sections on the bar will tell you exactly where you are. This, for example, is the center knurling, so that's how you know this is the center of the barbell. Close grip, wide grip. This is the range in which you can alter your grip depending on your preferences and your goals. All right, so I always get a ton of questions about the arch. All right, there's a big difference between benching with an arch and benching just flat back. Neither are incorrect, but there are specific reasons as to why you should pick one over the other. So in an arched position, my upper body is very, very, very tight, and my feet are digging into the floor, my legs are engaged. I'm pretty much using my entire body to bench. Now with a flat back, it's much less tight. I'm pretty much just pushing the barbell up with my arms and my chest. There's not much that the lower body can do in this position. The tighter you are, the better your lift is gonna go. If you're able to use your entire body, doesn't that sound like it might go better than if you're just allowed to use your chest and your arms? The only reasons I can think of where you wouldn't want to bench with an arch is if it actively hurts you to get into that position, or you just really don't want to. Other than that, I always recommend people bench with a little bit of an arch at least. It helps a lot. Makes a bench press feel really good. Okay, and one more lesson, and that is on the scapula. So your scapula is basically your upper back. There are a few different ways in which your scapula can move, but what I want you to focus on is this forward, backward, up, and down. So forward, when you stretch your arms forward, make your arms really long, and bring your shoulder blades apart, this is called protraction. And then the opposite, where you squeeze your shoulder blades together, that's retraction. And then when you bring your upper back up like this and you shrug, this is called elevation. And then the other way is called depression. So these are the four main ways that your scapula can move. I have found that a lot of my beginner clients, they don't know how to move their scapula, just because there's not really anything in our daily lives that requires you to just activate your back and move your shoulder blades back and forth. I find that a lot of my clients find this to be a new feeling. So if you are a beginner and you are trying to bench press for the first time, I recommend before each bench press session, just go through the four movements and just get used to your upper back musculature moving. Now here's the reason I taught you this. When you bench press, you want to be locked in to retraction and depression. So you want to be retracted, depressed. And you want to be like this throughout the entire movement. Okay, this is the hardest part of bench press. This is the hardest part. This is the part that I struggled with the most as I was perfecting my bench press form, and I'm still perfecting it. Grab the barbell, lay down. I forgot the hair thing, how could I? You want to roll the barbell all the way to the edge. Okay, from here, you want your eyes to be aligned with the barbell. You want your eyes to be right underneath. And then you grip the bar, okay? Either narrow grip, medium grip, or wide grip. Whatever's comfortable for you. Wide grip will offer you more stability. I like to look for the little rings. I can just kind of feel them out, I don't have to look. Especially in dim lighting, can't really see sometimes. And then from here, this is what I will do. I will kind of scoot my upper body down and kind of start to create that little arch in my back. And then from here, what I'll do is I'll pick up my legs, and then what I'm trying to do is bring my butt as close to my upper back as possible. So I'm kind of trying to squeeze this way. Okay, so once my butt is up, I will lift off and then set my butt down very, very slowly. Okay, and then from here, my legs are engaged, my feet are pushing into the floor. I'm going to do the scapular depression and retraction thing, and watch what happens to the bar when I do it. Did you guys see it move down? There's supposed to be a little bit of a move when you engage your scapula. Okay, and then before I go for the first rep, I'm going to take a bracing breath in. Okay, and then re-rack. Okay, so this is what it looks like from the top, all right? So the bar is here at my eye line. I unrack up here, bring it out a little bit, and then I'll do the retraction depression thing. My arms moved down. Did you guys see that? And then I'm gonna be benching here. So depending on how big you can get your arch, it takes a little bit of practice. You are gonna wanna aim somewhere between the mid boob, the mid chest, to the bottom of the boobs, if you are a girl, that is. Men can have boobs too, I guess. So it's gonna be in this region that you're aiming for the bar to go. But the last thing that you wanna do is rotate your arms that way just to get to that lower point. If you prioritize the bar touch point over everything else, you're going to be in a position like this. And what happens when you try to push up? It's gonna go that way. You don't wanna go like this because you're sending the bar away from you, and that'll cause a lot of instability and discomfort. Whereas if you keep your elbows under your wrists and you push up, it'll go that way, which is where it's supposed to go. You have a lot more control over it, a lot more stability, and then you can safely re-rack when you're done. So it honestly might take a little bit of practice, but you just wanna really push those shoulders down, make your neck long, depress, retract, and then keep those elbows in the right position relative to the wrist. Know this, yes this. So just like with squats, you want to brace with the bench press. Once again, to create that intra-abdominal pressure, you want to kind of suck it in through a straw, through your mouth. The reason being, if you breathe in through your nose for the air, typically it goes to the chest. There's a difference between breathing into the stomach versus breathing into the chest. So practice what it's like to breathe into the stomach and create some of that intra-abdominal pressure, which is crucial for all three lifts. But I always say, if you have some health conditions like hypertension or any heart problems, then consult with your doctor first and make sure it's okay, because bracing sometimes tends to be kind of like, you know, there's a lot of tension build up, and that's not always good for you if you have certain conditions. So just be careful, be safe. All right, so the whole lifting the butt thing and making that arch as tight as possible, that's very, I feel like that's very extra. It's like a power lifter thing to do, and if I ever sign up for a powerlifting competition, you're gonna see me doing that. However, if you're just benching for the first time, it's fine just to have like a little bit of a modest arch and just kind of start out just like this. You don't have to do all of that if you don't want to. Just make sure that you depress those shoulder blades and everything is just really tight back there. And then you bring it to your touch point, pause for a sec, push back up. Control it. Control it. So I always bench with a sports bra on because it exposes my back to the bench and allows me to use the stickiness of my skin and the bench to let me leverage getting into that giant arch. Because if I were wearing a very slippery t-shirt and I picked up my butt to kind of compress myself into this arch, I would just be sliding this way because I'm pushing with my feet, right? And that brings me to the next point of explaining the leg drive. So not only are you kind of engaging them for the lift off and getting into position, when you do the actual lift, my feet are pressing into the floor. So this is me relaxed, and this is me engaging my legs and using leg drive. Relaxed, leg drive. Like you could even hear it in the bar. There's a lot more power to my movement when my legs are engaged. So basically what this is doing is you're pushing directly down. Because I'm in this arch position, the harder I push with my legs, the harder my upper back is being driven into the bench. And because of that, I'm able to channel that force into my arms, into the lift. And that is what people mean when they say use your legs, use leg drive. I think that is the best way that I can explain that. I feel like I should be able to explain physics a little better considering I have an engineering degree. but I kind of deliberately forgot everything I learned in school because I hated engineering so much. I will just say it's something that you have to feel out and something you have to try for yourself, and you'll know exactly what I mean once you feel it. All right, so let's put it all together. What do you say? Back of the head, no claw clip. Grab the barbell, lay down. Okay, line your eyes up with the barbell. Grip, scoot that scapula down. Lift, lift, set. Okay, leg drive, tightness, brace. Re-rack. Okay, so that's pretty much it. That's all you need to know in order to start bench pressing. I know it's kind of intimidating, and there's a huge difference between squatting 45 pounds for the first time and benching 45 pounds for the first time, especially if you are also a pretty skinny girl. I feel like women typically have weaker upper bodies. A lot of women I know will just do chest presses on the bench with like 10 pound or 15 pound dumbbells, and it's typically quite a big jump to go from those to a proper barbell. So I can see why one would be apprehensive about bench pressing. However, if you just make sure that you have all the safety stuff set, you have a spotter, you have somebody looking out for you, you're good. Like, try it, why not, you know? The bench press is genuinely such an awesome exercise, and it targets the triceps as well, makes your boobs perky. Like, I just see a bunch of pros. At first, when I started training with my powerlifting coach of 2 years, I told him I wasn't really interested in growing my bench press at all, but then eventually I started to have some shoulder pain, and he was like, oh, you don't have enough horizontal pressing in your program. So we just started incorporating bench press just for the sake of my shoulder pain, and eventually my shoulder pain went away, and then eventually I was like, wait, this whole bench pressing for strength thing is kind of cool. And now in the future, since I'm still working on increasing my bench press, if I want to participate in a powerlifting meet, I have the bench press under my belt, you know? Squat, bench, and deadlift. Complete the triad. And just like with the squat, the bench press is incredibly nuanced, and there are so many little tips and tricks and little secrets that you can implement over time as you get more advanced with this lift. But as a beginner, this is all you need. This is all you need. I hope I was able to demystify the barbell for at least a few girlies today. Usually I say one girly, but today I'm feeling a little ambitious. I don't know. But the barbell is not scary. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of anything in the gym. You can conquer all of it. All right. I hope today's video was helpful. Let me know if you guys have any questions, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!